Hey there! Are you tired of rolling around like a madman and still getting hit? Or are you perhaps a rhythm gamer? In either case, I have good news for you. The Deflecting Hardtear, dropped by the Furnace Golem in Graveside Plains, not only gives you access to a new playstyle with a perfect block mechanic, that playstyle is also super strong. Perfect blocking decreases the damage that goes through your guard and also lowers the stamina consumption. But most importantly, it increases guard counter damage, and this effect can stack up to 4 times with consecutive perfect blocks. This is honestly one of the easiest builds I've ever played the game with. It completely trivialized some of the enemies and bosses that I found rather troublesome when I fought them with other characters. Not only does it tons of damage, blocking is also objectively easier than dodging. Furthermore, since guard counters do also a lot of posture damage, you will frequently get critical hit opportunities. The downside is that by being tied to a physic tier, the effect is only temporary. It does last for 5 minutes, so we have plenty of time for each individual fight, but you can't have it active all the time. Now let's get to the details. First, here are the stats. As always, my character is level 150 with Shadow Blessing level 10. Note that the points in Fate are mostly for weapon requirements, but having 20 Fate also lets me use Golden Vow with Godric's Great Rune. With our gear, we actually have a bit of freedom for personal preference, like for our weapon. Any big beat stick of your choice will do just fine, but let me direct your attention to 2 weapons that are uniquely qualified for this build. First is the Great Sword of Solitude, dropped by the Black Jail Knight in the Western Nameless Mausoleum. This is a very solid strength weapon, and its Ash of War gives you a bit of a ranged option, although the range is not that great. The Ash also has a follow-up R2 attack that knocks most enemies on the ground, giving you enough time to fully charge another R2 while they get back up. But what makes the weapon really stand out for this build is the 89% physical damage negation on block, so you will take only very little damage even if you didn't get the perfect block. The other weapon I want to mention is the Black Steel Great Hammer, which is a guaranteed drop from the Black Knight at the Church of Consolation. It has the unique ability to create a ground explosion when you perform a guard counter with it, adding a little bit more damage and posture damage to your attacks. Optionally, you can also pair your choice of weapon with a shield or great shield. Next up, Talismans. The Curved Sword Talisman from Stormvale Castle that increases guard counter damage is a no-brainer. Depending on if you use a shield or not, the next talisman should either be the Great Shield Talisman or the Two-Handed Sword Talisman. The Great Shield Talisman you can find on Altus Plateau in one of the carriage chests east of the Erdtree Gazing Hillside of Grace. And the Two-Handed Sword Talisman is located in Templetown Ruins. The Two-Headed Turtle Talisman from behind a waterfall near Rivermouth Cave boosts our stamina recovery. And for the last talisman I like to go with Erdtree's Favor +2 from Lanedale Ashen Capital. The armor set I'm using is the Rakshasa armor, which is not only one of the sickest looking armor sets in the DLC, it also increases the damage we deal by 2% for each piece we have equipped. And while the description says that it increases damage taken, that actually just means that its defense values are a bit ass for its weight. For buffs we can utilize, as I've already mentioned before, we can use Golden Vow. And if you don't want to invest points into Fate, you can use the new consumable version instead of the spell. Flame Grant Me Strength is also useful, but its short duration means that most likely won't be active for the whole fight unless you recast it. Lastly, we still have one more slot to fill in our Physic Flask, and there are a few choices we could go with. The Stone Barb Cracked tier increases our already high posture damage for more critical attacks, but it has a short duration of only 30 seconds. For tiers that last a little bit longer, the Green Burst or Crimson Burst Crystal tiers, as well as the Strength Knot Crystal tier and the Opaline Heart tier are all viable options, and the choice here is entirely up to personal preference. And that's it for this build. Hey! You've made it to the end. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more Elden Ring content in the future.